Ah, yes, Chuck Rock. Do you even remember Chuck Rock? He had his heyday, originally created in 1991 but wouldn't hit his apex of popularity until 1994. Chuck Rock was an example of individual companies coming up with their own mascot. However, this isn't like the Bubsy series. No, unlike those games, this one was actually pretty good. Core Design would keep Chuck Rock as their mainstay up until 1996, where they would eventually trade in a caveman for a hot pair of legs. Laura Croft can explore my tomb any day. Wait, I think that means she'd be digging around in my butt. I don't think I want that. Well, she can make pancakes for me, with no pants on. Chuck Rock was very different when compared to other company mascots. For one, he wasn't an animal. See, in the early 90s, it seemed like most mascots were animals, and because of the direction we were headed in, where everything has to be extreme, typically the mascots were given some kind of edgy attitude. Not Chuck Rock. He was simple, laid-back caveman, and it took Gary Gritter along with a horrible voice actor to ruffle his feathers.
A local weirdo in them there bushes. Looks like he's got the hots for Chuck's wife, the beautiful Ophelia Rock. Cripes, Gary's whacked Ophelia's nut.
Are you kidding me? Could the announcer really have not read his lines like he cared? I swear you would get more feeling if Stephen Hawking had been the narrator, and that's sad. Really, there didn't need to be a narrator at all anyway. I mean, it's a simple story. This pervert Gary steals Chuck's wife Ophelia, and now Chuck is going after him to save her. Now, Gary Gritter is obviously a play on the name of Gary Glitter, who was an international rock sensation. Considering all of the very perverted legal troubles he's had since 1997 all the way up until now, I'm pretty sure Core Design is deeply regretting marketing their main villain in the game based off of a now registered pedophile. As for the game, that's your main attack? Are you kidding? Can you imagine what its training regimen must be like? The funny thing is, in the intro, we clearly see the only thing Chuck puts on is a pair of bushes. We all know it's not the leaves that are taking out the enemies. No, he's stabbing everyone with his one-eyed willy. That's right, in order for you to save Ophelia, you have to dry hump everyone in the face. Dry hump in the face! His dirty man thrust is so powerful it takes out nearly everything in one shot, or one poke in this case. Now you do get two other attacks. For one, you can jump kick. The other, which basically is a play on the words of the title of the game, is you quite literally pick up rocks and chuck them. This isn't exactly a big part of your attacks because its main purpose is to use the rocks to get up to higher areas or just to get across certain spots. So without a doubt, you'll mainly be using the other two attacks, which you're going to need because everything hurts you. What makes this even more frustrating is you have a ton of things in the foreground which obstruct your view of a lot of the enemies. Oftentimes I find when I actually do get hit, I suddenly get hit by tons of things all at once, because I'm usually in shock at how I just missed killing an enemy that I run right into the next one. It is a constant issue, and from start to finish, I never got used to it. Another thing that takes some time to get used to is just the rocks themselves. In this regard, it's the controls. For starters, to pick them up, you press down plus B. If you want to throw it, you simply hit B again. Now, if you want to drop it right where you're standing to position the rock, you have to hit down plus B. Several times I would mix this up, and it would often mean backtracking or losing the rock completely, forcing me to find another route. It doesn't sound like it's that big of a deal, but once this happens to you repeatedly after only an hour or so, it starts to wear on you. The one major downfall with the rock gimmick is the puzzles, and I use the term puzzle very loosely here, is that there isn't much variation to them. Either you're trying to get to a taller spot, using them as a way to catapult yourself, or you're just holding one to protect yourself from falling debris. That's honestly it. In fact, after the first few levels, you will have mastered all that you're going to see involving the rocks. Unfortunately, there aren't any power-ups to speak of that'll change up the gameplay. You do, however, get some things that'll help along the way, like hearts that replenish your health, and occasionally you'll see a pterodactyl that carry across the areas where you can't reach. There are loads of meats and veggies scattered throughout each level, but as far as I know, they serve no purpose other than increasing your score, which doesn't make any sense at all considering the game doesn't save any of your data. The one thing I absolutely hate about this game is the ridiculously large amount of leaps of faith you have to do just to move on. There's no way to look down before you jump. Oftentimes I end up getting hurt because of this. Literally every time I come up to a spot where I know I'm going to have to drop down, my ass tenses up thinking I'm going to get hit by something. And this isn't Super Mario Bros., so landing on enemies is a good way to get yourself a game over screen. What? Enemies can jump through platforms to hurt you? That's not fair! I really hate the way these rocks factor into certain things. Look at this situation. I originally meant to drop the first rock by my feet, but as I mentioned with the controls earlier, I accidentally threw it onto the thorn bush. So I get the idea that I can still salvage it by throwing the other rock on top of it, but I missed, and it landed on the same spot. Even if I leave the screen, the rocks won't return. The only way I'm able to get up onto the top log is to literally take a hit on the thorn bush. That's complete bullshit. It's not like I didn't know what to do, it's just because of how the controls are. Games like this usually make it so the same button you pick something up lets you put it back down again, and it's usually that same button you use now coupled with pressing forward allows you to throw it. It doesn't feel natural at all. Oh, thanks for that. Yeah, place an enemy right under the rock that I have to pick up just to persevere. The boss for the first area is pretty straightforward, but it goes on and on. Seriously, does it need to take this many hits to take him out? The next area has you going around in a cave. What is that? A poo monster? Oh my god, what the hell is that? That's a penis monster! And don't even claim my head is in the gutter. Look at it! Look! Its nose boner's even bouncing around. If I use my dry hump attack, does that count as a lightsaber duel? You know, as you go along, the more you start to notice that most of the enemies either look really depressed or they're stoned out of their mind. Look at that guy. He honestly looks like he just saw his best friend die in front of him or something. It looks sad. But don't worry, you have a cure for him. Just stab him with your man, Cyclops. Yeah, that'll put a smile on his face. The second boss is pretty tough. Sarcasm! The next three areas are basically the same, but they tried to add your typical elements that you see in most platforming games to make it seem like they're changing things up by making one area about water and one about ice. All these do is force you to move slower, because if you don't, you're gonna take a lot of hits. For the final area, it would seem you're among the land of the dead. There's these little green dinosaurs that have these deaths, which is sort of a gamble. Sometimes you kill them, they turn into a cute little angel and just float away. Other times they might turn into a demon and chase after you. Killing them is a lot like dealing with a baby in the sense that you never know if they're going to be cute or cranky. Who's a cute little baby? You're a cute little baby. Yes, you are. You're a cute little baby, because you're so cute. Little baby.
Give me my f***ing milk, bitch!
Where I really start to lose it is this part. Right at the beginning of the stage, there's a rock and an unreachable ledge. So naturally, I pick up the rock and I notice there's one of those green dinosaurs. So I decide to throw the rock, giving me time to run backwards if it turns into a demon. After killing it, I realize I just threw my only chance of getting up there. There's no way around it. No other rocks, no way to jump up there, and I can't kill myself because the enemies don't respawn. I'm literally stuck here. Since there's no time limit, I can't wait it out and start the level again. Now that sucks, because guess what? I had to restart the game all over again. So I had to make it all the way back, position the rock again, and now I can get up there. That is a tremendous flaw, and being you're in the last area of the entire game, it's essentially the programmer's way of giving it to the player right in the ass. For the final boss, you're fighting a T-Rex who I guess is supposed to be a boxer even though he doesn't ever try to punch you. He's definitely the hardest of all the bosses. Really, all you have to do is walk backwards when he makes an attempt to bite you and then run back to him and hit him with your man junk. From there, he falls over onto Gary Gritter and you win. At the end, it does make mention of Chuck Rock 2, Son of Chuck, which was pretty much the same game as the first, except you play as a baby, and the game was more geared toward a younger audience, which fans apparently didn't like. Chuck Rock also later made an appearance in a game called BC Racers, which I happen to have the 3DO version. To give a quick verdict, wow, this game sucks. The music is terrible, the control feels unresponsive, it looks ugly, and it's just not fun to play at all. What's strange about this is it's on a system that's capable of doing more than, say, a system like Super Nintendo. But look at Super Mario Kart for the Super Nintendo. Fluent gameplay, great sound, excellent graphics, and it's actually fun to play. Considering how Chuck Rock was treated later on, it's not exactly a big surprise that he was discarded for a lady with a nice ass and monster headlights. Although I've got to admit, if Lara Croft had a pelvic attack, that would be hot.